Good day, everyone. Welcome. My name is Alex Filiatro. I'm the CEO of CanFAR. It is my pleasure today to welcome you all to this very unique, extraordinary broadcast for the 8th edition of Can You Do Lunch? It is an even greater pleasure for me now to introduce your 2020 chair, an incredible individual, fashion entrepreneur, media personality, the incomparable Jeannie Becker.
Oh, wow. Wow. First of all, I'd like to welcome all of you who are here with us physically and who are out there with us virtually. This is such a trailblazing event, truly a precedent-setting situation. I'm in awe that it's coming together, that it's come together as well as it has. And again, it's our fearless leader, Alex Filiatro, who had the vision to go ahead and do this thing. So kudos to you, Alex, and thank you for your vision and all your inspiration. Such an honor to welcome you all to the 2020 edition of CanFAR's annual Can You Do Lunch event. We are so thankful for everyone who's joining us during this pandemic, given the restrictions that are all in place. Before we begin our official broadcast, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, which is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We have a few surprises in store for you today as we celebrate the important accomplishments of CanFAR and our fight against HIV/AIDS over the past 25 years. But we still have work to do, and your support is so incredibly important. A new goal has been set for the next 5 years. We are going to beat this thing. We have 5 years to do it, and we count on all of you to help us get there, and I know that you won't let us down. I'd like to invite you to check out canfarauction.com. This is where you can take part in our wonderful auction today. Lots of great stuff up for grabs. Today, we'd like to pay special tribute to members of the creative community who have been absolutely instrumental in raising awareness, in fighting stigma, and raising those all-important funds for the fight against HIV/AIDS over the years. And one of the shining stars in our very own creative community is the incomparable Billy Newton Davis. Billy is a 4-time Juno Award-winning vocalist, composer, and performer, originally from Shaker Heights, Ohio, who moved to Toronto in 1980. How lucky for us. And after spending some time in New York, Billy contracted HIV in 1986, but he never let the virus prevent him from pursuing his dream of becoming a recording artist. His debut album, Love is a Contact Sport, won the Juno Award for Best R&B Soul Recording in 1986. His 1989 follow-up, Spellbound, included his biggest Canadian chart hit, I Can't Take It, as well as the Celine Dion duet, Can't Live With You, Can't Live Without You, and again, won the Juno for Best R&B Soul Recording. Billy joined the Nylons back in 1981. Oh, wow, I remember covering you guys back in the day. Incredible stuff. Billy has since been focused on songwriting and live jazz and gospel performances in addition to collaborating with various artists. We are lucky enough that he is performing for us today. Please put your hands together for the incomparable Billy Newton Davis.
There quiet and opening. Wait for us somewhere. There's a time for us. Someday there's a time for us. There's a time for us all to spare. Time to learn, time to care. Someday, somehow, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find a way of forgiving somewhere. There's a place for us somewhere. There's a place for us. Hold my hand and we're halfway there. Hold my hand and I'll take you there. Someday, somehow, somewhere, yeah. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Billy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the passion always, and for just being who you are. You really meant so much to us for so many years, and we'll get back to you in just a bit. Incredible, incredible stuff. I'd like to now introduce Sylvia Mantella, the Chief Marketing Officer for Mantella Corporation, board member for CanFAR, and official presenting sponsor of today's event.
Afternoon. My name is Sylvia Mantella. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for Mantella Corporation, and I have the honor to serve on the Board of Directors for CanFAR. Thank you for joining us today, and I'm looking forward to a fantastic event. The fight against HIV is very personal to me. I know several people and have close friends who I care for and love who live with HIV. And they have shared their stories, their personal journeys, and their struggles living with this virus. So my relationship with CanFAR is a direct relationship to providing them an opportunity for a better life, a better quality of life, and a longer life. The art community and the artists are so critical because they can speak to the human element of HIV and living with HIV. And that is so brave, and that is so courageous, and that is so real. HIV stigma is discrimination towards people living with the virus. And that in the year 2020 is unacceptable. It is so critical to battle discrimination against those living with HIV. Not only is it completely irrational behavior to discriminate, but it's potentially so damaging to the person living with HIV. And that's important for people to understand, is that your fear of is potentially damaging this person because their fear of being judged, particularly in their own communities, can discourage individuals from getting tested, learning their status, and therefore not accessing available treatments to them, including support and care.
Thank you so much to Sylvia Mantella for all her beauty and grace. In order to celebrate the creative community that has offered its ongoing support to CanFAR and its mission of ending HIV in Canada, CanFAR is today honoring individuals with the newly Creative Community Award. The creative community has been on the forefront of the fight to end HIV since the start of the epidemic, and its members have been among the first to battle the stigma associated with AIDS. Today, we're celebrating members of Toronto's Creative Hub as an expression of our sincerest gratitude to the important role they've played and continue to play as allies to the HIV/AIDS community. Let's watch a video.
Once upon a time, a small group of friends from Toronto's fashion community dreamed up a way to help the loved ones they were losing to a frightening new disease called HIV/AIDS. Being the fabulous people they were, they decided to do what they did best. With the help of their friends at a little startup cosmetics company, they pulled together their creativity, energy, and style and threw a party. They called it Fashion Cares, and it was the hottest ticket in town. A stage for the irreverent and the outrageous. It broke taboos and bared it all. Before long, the little party grew into a vast movement. Thousands of people dedicated their time and talent. A lipstick was invented, style icons flaunted it, all in support of the cause. 20 years and millions of dollars later, Fashion Cares has changed the face of HIV/AIDS forever. The creativity and the battle for a cure continues.
Hi, my name is Philip Ng. When I think of CanFAR, in my own history, I think of 1987 actually, because the event that I worked on, Fashion Cares, started in '87. And then I heard, very shortly after that CanFAR was starting out. And I thought, that's fantastic, because we went from like all this fear to all of a sudden you could see the communities coming together. And our community, which was fashion and beauty, we decided we were going to put on a fashion show, but we were raising funds. CanFAR was going to do the same thing, but they were going to engage science. And that was a huge relief. Everything that was done for the first Fashion Cares was done by word of mouth and by phone. Everyone that came had to pay. It made $40,000, so you didn't have to pay a lot. I believe it was $10 or something like that. So that's how the first one started. And I remember how electric the feeling was in that room. Backstage, they always asked, what do you think of, this current, situation? I said, well, we need a cure. We need to end AIDS now. Every year for the next 5 years, there's just so much to be done, because the reality is there are two pandemics that we're fighting at the same time. As someone who's been around since that first pandemic for 40 years, it does not deserve to be shuttled off again. We need to keep focus. I'm so happy about these programs that CanFAR is putting out this year, because CanFAR's actions will help to keep that focus, because they give us hope, they give us a direction, they give us purpose, And we've got to support all those things and donate it to it as well. And let's all together get together in 5 years from now, give each other a thumbs up and say goodbye to AIDS, HIV.
Hear, hear. Oh, Philip, my life just flashed before me watching that Fashion Cares video, and for any of you who had the privilege and the joy of ever attending Fashion Cares, it was an event like no other, and it was such a time. I mean, we've come a long way, baby, but maybe not quite far enough. Philip Ng is a celebrated creative director who has helped shape the fashion industry in Canada and beyond. Philip has played an instrumental role in the creation of one of Toronto's most famous AIDS fundraising platform, the MAC-sponsored Fashion Cares, with that inaugural event held back in 1987, which started as a small fashion show at a nightclub with 400 guests in attendance in support of the newly created AIDS Committee of Toronto, became one of Toronto's most well-attended events. Led by Philip as executive producer and artistic director, and what a vision, what an imagination Philip has, it's just so profound. Fashion Cares saw some editions draw an attendance of up to 8,000 people, while the platform raised close to $10 million in support of AIDS research over 20 years. High-profile designers ranging from Canadians like Wayne Clark and D Square to international stars such as Alexander McQueen, not to mention global entertainment stars including Elton John, joined the event and supported Philip and his vision over the years. This is so well-deserved. Warm congratulations, Philip, on this Creative Community Award. Just love you. Oh.
One of the wonderful people. I mean, it is all about this community, that event, this event. But Jeannie was there from 1987 onward. And I mean, I accept the award on behalf of all of us that worked on it so much. And Jeannie was right there on the front line as well. So thank you so much, Jeannie. Thank you, everybody.
My great honor.
My name is Kent Monkman, and I'm a Cree artist. I live and work in Southern Ontario, and my work deals with a lot of the issues facing Indigenous people, both past and present. It's very exciting when you contribute and support organizations like CanFAR to see such incredible results from their efforts. And much of my work as an artist has been to educate the Canadian population specifically to reduce stigma about the LGBTQ2S community. And CanFAR's efforts to educate and reduce stigma about HIV and AIDS in the LGBTQ2S community has also really been aligned with my own efforts. So I really see a sort of some synchronicity there. Specifically, all the wide range of issues sort of affecting First Nations people. And I greatly appreciate that CanFAR has a mandate to work with the Indigenous community because we have so many factors that make us as Indigenous people disproportionately vulnerable to HIV and AIDS. Up to 1/5 of all new infections are in the Indigenous community. I know that self-testing is already available in other countries, and it's really important to make it as accessible as possible. This will help with assist with the stigma attached to it and the shame of going and getting a test. But this is particularly impactful in hard to reach communities like reserves that don't have access to clinics, sexual health clinics, or even just a regular clinic. So it's extremely important that these self-testing kits are made available as widely as possible.
Kent Monkman is a Canadian Cree artist of international reputation who's widely known for his provocative interventions into Western European and American art history. He explores themes of colonization, sexuality, loss, and resilience, the complexities of historic and contemporary Indigenous experiences across a variety of mediums, including painting, film, video, performance, and installation. Monkman's gender-fluid alter ego, Mischief Eagle Testicle, often appears in his work as a time-traveling, shape-shifting, supernatural being who reverses the colonial gaze to challenge received notions of history and Indigenous peoples. In 2017, Monkman was presented the Bonham Center Award from the Mark S. Bonham Center for Sexual Diversity Studies at the University of Toronto for his contributions to the advancement and education of issues around sexual identification. Kent received a commission from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and his artwork has been on display in the Great Hall since the end of 2019. Warmest congratulations to Kent Monkman.
Hi, my name is Billy Newton Davis. It's hard for me to say my own name, by the way. I remember my first event was at the Mercedes-Benz place, and it was in Toronto. And I walked in the room, and at that time, you know, I was a younger singer, and the room was full of people, affluent people. And I just thought, oh, this is wonderful. This is just so great. It's so great to have the interest, and I think that that's most important, that we've acquired the interest from so many people, so many donors, so many organizations, and it just makes me feel good to be a part of that. And when I jumped on board with CanFAR, it was like, well, this is my home. These are my people. These are the things that I love to do. My biggest part is performing and singing beautiful songs. To even hopefully make people give more money. I hope that song made them even think more to give more money. We need CanFAR to address the issues so that people will understand it is not a stigma. It's something that we're working on to get a cure for and to make it better for people's lives.
Ah, Billy. Billy's support of the HIV/AIDS community has been absolutely relentless. He's been a strong ally for the cause, raising awareness and fighting stigma, supporting our country's leading AIDS organizations and initiatives, from Fashion Cares to ACT, the Canadian organization that empowers adults and young people living with HIV, as well as the Metropolitan Community Church of Toronto. Billy has helped raise tens of thousands of dollars for HIV/AIDS research over the years, and he's inspired entire generations with his leadership, his compassion, and his unmistakably fabulous talent. We are honored to present Billy with the Creative Community Award today. Warmest congratulations, Billy. Billy and I had the chance to sit down for a conversation about his journey recently, albeit virtually, as many conversations take place these days, and I'm thrilled to share that conversation with you. I am so thrilled to be here with you here in cyberspace, but just seeing your gorgeous face on the screen, boy, it seems like a lifetime ago that we first met. I've known you for so very long. Such a pleasure to hear your story and to be able for you to share your story.
Thank you.
You have always been such an uplifting source of inspiration to so many. Just, you know, you sing a song and our hearts soar. Why was entertainment your calling? When did you first feel that that's what you were put on the earth to do?
Well, I was 5 and I was singing in a little Baptist church in Cleveland, and my mom was sitting in front of me and giving me the words. And that's really how it all began. And I just wanted to do this. And there's so many things, you know, around it, acting, dancing, but singing was always close to my heart. I would listen to Aretha, and I would listen to Sam Cooke, and over and over and over again, and many, many other artists, but that was just my daily life. And my parents also had a record shop in Cleveland for many years.
Mm. What an education that was.
Yes, it was, yes. So my calling was just being on stage, Jeannie. I think at the end of the day, I like it. It's interesting. It's fun. It's nice to have that wall that sometimes you can stand in front of. I know you know what I'm talking about. And you can express yourself to people. And it just got a little deeper, I guess, as I got older, to just really want to communicate to people in front of me somehow, some way, some other, some kind of way.
You obviously love people. I mean, that comes through in spades. It's your love of humanity, your love of people with big personalities, as you have a big personality too.
Yes.
I think for me, that's something that I felt from you from the very beginning. It's just something, your energy, it's just so captivating.
Yes.
You moved to Toronto from the States.
From New York City.
From New York City in the early 80s.
Yes.
I working as a performer right off the bat.
Totally.
Doing all kinds of great stuff. 1986,
Yes.
you were diagnosed with AIDS.
Yes.
What did that do to you when you heard that diagnosis?
I was devastated. Because I just thought I was invincible. And I had had such a healthy life, health food, eating, just working out, eating well, around great people. And then those moments, and that was a moment that happened. And I recall it, and I remember it, and I can just remember all the stuff that surrounded it from the very moment that I got the diagnosis. It just all became a really big movie. And like I said, I was devastated because I was just on the tip of that Sony recording signing. Yes. And I had been working. Yeah, I had already done that first album. So I was working on the second album. And, I came down with that horrible flu. And that's just kind of how it all evolved. And I went to see the doctor, and they tested me, and they told me. And I was just like, first time I think I ever fainted. I fainted in the doctor's office. Finished. I was in the middle of Dundas Street and Bathurst. And I called my dear, dear friend. And I said to her, I have just gotten the worst news I have ever heard in my life. And I told her, and she said, just come right now. I went to her because when you are diagnosed with that in those days, it's like a leper. You're like a touching, feeling. It's just all out of place. So I went to her, she sat me down, and she says, we'll get through this. And here I am.
I started fashion television in 1985. Fashion Cares started right around that time. And right around that time, so many of our friends, our lovers, our brothers, so many incredible people were being diagnosed, and we were holding their hands. And for many of them, we watched them go. And it became for me such a crazy time because we wanted to help, but we just didn't know how. I mean, even starting Fashion Cares and being honorary chair in those early days, the stigma attached to the disease, as you referred to, was absolutely overwhelming. I mean, how could we get sponsors to come on board? No one even wanted to talk about this disease. And yet the entire creative community around us was suffering. What did that do to you, knowing that you were now going to be living with this and perhaps not being able to come out and talk about it to many people other than your closest confidants?
Well, it's like an in the closet thing, you know. So all these years, you're sort of in the closet, 1 foot in, 1 foot out as a gay man. And then this happens. It's a double whammy. I don't know, Jeannie. You know, the question, it's a very interesting question because you have to keep moving through life. I had signed a big major recording contract and I had commitments and I had things to do. And I just did different things to get me through. Holistic things, spiritual things. Like you said, I love people. So I had that love around me constantly. And support. It was amazing because you couldn't talk about it. So you held it in and then you just started holding it in and holding your head up high and you just started doing things, moving in life, doing things, contributing, giving of yourself. In a short video that I did for Campfire, I talked about how I had done this documentary and I'm gonna just quickly tell you about it. And I really asked the producer, I said, you know, I really don't wanna get into my HIV stuff. And long story short, she broke the lock. And really, best thing that ever happened to me because that's what changed my thought pattern. I changed. And I thought, I'm the voice. I have to be the voice of this. I have to stand up straight and tall, and let people know what's going on with me. At that point, I was in a relationship with my partner, and we got to move through life. But I believe, what I'm saying is, my voice is important, and maybe someone will hear something that I would say that would change their lives. And that's kind of what that was all about.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, your energy, your approach, what you're saying now is changing all of us too, because, you know, you are emblematic of that kind of brave soldier. You just keep going 1 foot in front of the other and you just keep on going. And I think no matter what we face in life, and we all face all kinds of dark stuff, you know, it's just all about never giving up.
And just to interject something, you know, fashion television, Jeannie, that was one of the things in my life that I loved. I followed you. And you know, you find things to make you happy. You find things to get yourself involved in. That was just one of the many things. Fashion, I love fashion. I love being around you guys. I love seeing it. I love the clothing, the feel of the fabric, the shows. So you find uplifting things.
Yet that was an industry, a community that was so incredibly ravaged by AIDS in those days. What did that community do for you? How did they lift you up?
Well, you know, one of the most beautiful things, Jeannie, was I was living in Toronto at that time. And my friends were dying and dropping like flies in New York on Broadway. And it was just an ongoing thing. And I would get phone calls. I had a very dear friend, Ed Love, God rest his soul, amazing producer, director. Oh, just had a great career. And he actually got me on my path to do what I'm doing. And I would chat with him. And he always would say to me, you know, you're so lucky you're in Toronto. I said, well, you know, it's a life that I've made for myself now, and I'm going with it. I'm getting career opportunities that I would not be getting in New York right now. And it's just the place that I need to be. And one wonderful thing, you know, I have a very dear friend, Salah Bashir, who, I love this man so much. I'll never forget, I saw him and everyone had been, you know, entertaining for him and doing things. And I saw him, I said, I want to sing for you. I want to. And that actually, one of the first events I did was a Campfire event at the Mercedes-Benz dealership. And that's where it started, Jeannie. And our community it lifts me continually. It lifts me. It started there. All of that stuff, that's what lifts me.
Yeah. Mm.
And to get to do those things even up until this point, those beginnings are wonderful to chat about and share, that you guys always held me and hugged me and kissed me. And I had a mama, that I was her only child, and that's what I got in my life. So that's what I continue to get.
God, you are love personified. Did you ever think back, 1986, that was a long time ago. Did you ever think that you'd make it this far back in the days when there was so much doom and gloom associated with the disease?
Good question. I didn't think about it. I just kept moving through life, getting new hairdos, loving fashion, finding songs to sing, finding performances to give. And I believe that's what did it for me, but it was still with that support. My friends were always saying, you can do this, you can do this. And it was all kind of not ignored, but I was just acknowledged for what I did, and I just kept doing it.
Yeah, it's incredibly empowering, that kind of, confidence that others have in you. But I still wonder about the fear factor, and how you live with a kind of, perhaps underlying fear, because I'm sure you were afraid at times.
Jeannie, today I have fears with what we've been going through over these past months. Mm-hmm. Actually, these past months have been a larger fear in my life. But yes, fearful of what physically could happen to me, what could take me down. Yes, in the back of my mind, yes, but just being fearless through it all. Masking, putting a mask on, hiding, you name it. Yeah. I did it. I did it. And because just a little something else, I had a big recording contract, and I was kind of in the closet. Meanwhile, everybody would say, Helen Keller could read through that stuff. But I thought I had to do that to be me and to get through.
Hope is something that's ultimately important in all our lives. What's your greatest hope now? I mean, maybe not even so much for the world, because I'm sure we've all got a lot of hopes and dreams about where the world is going, but for you in your life now, because I just can't imagine on a daily basis what life must be like with you. I don't know. Are you taking a lot of drugs? Are you?
Yes, I'm on the cocktail. I've had several. I'm on the cocktail. I'm working out. I'm always involved. I'm always looking for something to do. I'm very fortunate to get phone calls to come and sing here and come and sing there. My hope always is that I can be an example of some kind to show young people, not be fearless. You're only stopping yourself when you're stuck. Get out there, be active, be involved. COVID-19 brought up something very interesting, because I thought about HIV versus COVID-19, and I really thought, they're really putting a lot of attention on COVID-19. They never really did put this much attention on HIV/AIDS like this. They did, but not like this. I think my biggest hope now is that the world would look at these different things that are attacking our immune systems and our bodies, and physically, just damaging us. And I want people now to really sit down and take a look at the research and what's needed. I know that we at CanFire are really looking forward to this testing, for instance, this in-home testing, because I believe when I found out that there was a possibility, what a change that would have been years ago if we had have had that, because so many people were they couldn't talk about their condition. So yes, my hope is for better testing, more investigation about HIV/AIDS. It's not over. It is not over. And just because there's a cocktail, this is my thing with young kids. Just because there's a cocktail doesn't mean there's a free ride, kids. The cocktail is to help you to get through, to find the next step to get us better. And that's my real theory about it.
Well, from your lips to God's ears, we're hoping this is the last 5 years that we have to battle this thing.
Yes.
And there will come a time in the not too distant future where there will be no such thing as AIDS.
Yes.
And Billy,
yes. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Billy, love you so much. Thank you so much for all your light and all the love that you bring to the world, and all the awareness that you've brought us here today.
Thank you, Jeannie. As I said, you are a light in my heart that shines so bright for all of us. You've just touched on lifestyle, and that's so big and so wonderful. Thank you.
I'm Jeannie Becker, and I am incredibly honored to be part of this monumental event today. If I ever loved the creative arts before I started covering that Fashion Cares event in particular, triply, quadruply, 100 times more fell in love with artists and the creative spirit, because what I saw when I would cover Fashion Cares each year was such a determination to celebrate life and to keep on going no matter what. It was as though everyone was, some kind of a phoenix rising from the ashes. It was the most exhilarating time to see people who had been holding the hands of loved ones who were suffering from AIDS, looking into the eyes of so many that we loved and lost to this horrible disease. And yet, no matter how ill people were, no matter what kind of devastation they'd seen, they would rally for this incredible night each year where we just, let our hearts just soar, where we just pulled out all the stops, where we just decided that life was about living and about pushing forward and about putting beautiful things out there that we could all adore. All those creative people now, I look back now and I think of them as warriors. They didn't have weapons, they had their makeup brushes, or they had their sewing needles, or they had their sequins, and they had their wigs, and they had their fantasies, and it was as though they used those things as weapons to fight all the sadness and all the despair and all the darkness that was going on. This is a time to really step up to the plate and work harder than ever, because we're saying 5 years and we got a deadline, and I know a lot of us in the creative community do work well under pressure. You got to have a deadline. So we've got one we've really, really got to realize our dreams this next 5 years. We just will.
Jeannie Becker is a Canadian TV personality, fashion editor, and author. After starting her career as an actress, Jeannie moved into radio, then television, co-hosting New Music, and later appearing on City Plus News. She went on to become the host of internationally renowned fashion television, which aired for over 27 years and had viewers in more than 131 countries. Jeannie is the former editor-in-chief of FQ and Sir magazine and author of 5 books. She has been a contributing editor of the Toronto Star, The Kit, and the columnist for the Metro, and has been featured style columnist for the Globe and Mail and Post City magazine. Today, Jeannie Becker hosts a series of shopping channel and is a contributor to Living Lux magazine. She's also starring in her own new podcast. She has been appointed the Order of Canada in 2014. She received the 2012 Canadian Award of Distinction from the Banff World Media Festival, in addition to also having been honored with the Canadian Screen Achievement Award for her lasting impact on Canadian television. Jeannie has supported CanFAR for many years, including through her involvement with Fashion Cares. On behalf of CanFAR, we're thrilled to be recognizing her with a 2020 Creative Community Award today.
Oh, my name is Janice Oborn. I've been involved with CanFAR since the mid-80s, and I'm thrilled that you're here today to Can You Do Lunch? You know, when Bluma Appel asked me to become involved in CanFAR, I didn't know what CanFAR was in the mid-80s. But with her explanation and telling me about CanFAR, the number of people that were passing away at that time to HIV/AIDS, I felt it a moral and a commitment to participate and to help and to spread the word about the great work that CanFAR was doing. I think what's unique with CanFAR is that it raises money in Canada and supports scientists in Canada to help to find the cure. And that's unique. And I've used Bloor Street Entertains and Can You Do Lunch to be a conduit for the message of how we can help. Hopefully within the next 5 years, we're going to see a real bell curve drop, and people that know that they have it will take all the necessary precautions not to pass it on. There's never been any stigma with talking to CanFAR about anything. If they don't know the answer, they will find it for you. And I think CanFAR is a leading light of research, of development, of nurturing people, of spreading the message and helping Canadians. So we must continue talking about the facts. With the facts, there's no denying that that's the truth. And with the truth, you can develop a plan and a program, and now the self-testing, and we can get through it. We can make life better in the next 5 years exponentially because of this self-testing.
It is an honor to be awarding our first ever Patron Circle Award to Janice Oborn today. Janice is known as one of Canada's leading philanthropists. She founded the Printing House Charitable Office in 1985 and has raised in excess of $62 million since. She was the first recipient in 2010 of the Canadian Centre for Diversity Human Relations Award in recognition of her charitable work. Janice is a board member of several organizations, including the National Arts Centre Foundation, the Duke of Edinburgh Award for Business. She has been a tireless advocate for creative organization as well as those which in support of health causes. She has been a longtime friend and patron of CanFAR, and she founded CanFAR's Can You Do Lunch in 2012 along with Valerie Pringle. It is an absolute pleasure to recognize Janice Oborn today with our Patron Circle Award.
This is Valerie Pringle.
He's Andy Pringle.
We're married. My name's Andy Pringle. I'm the chair of the board of CanFAR.
For 25 years. I'm Valerie Pringle. I've been the spokesperson for CanFAR and a
For 26 years.
staunch supporter. Yeah, longer than you.
No, you haven't. It's 24 years, actually. You know, the great Dr. Mark Wainberg used to say that it's not going to be one big silver bullet. It's going to be a bunch of little pieces put together that will make the difference. And indeed, that's been the case.
And that's what CanFAR's done. And also hugely awareness and education. Those have been the components of what CanFAR's done over the years.
Yeah, at its height, we were reaching, I think we felt 3 or 4 million high school students across the country on an annual basis. And the awareness is probably in many ways just as important, to keep people reminded that this is a significant disease, that we are now making progress on it.
But the reason, we got involved, and obviously it was you who led it, was just that it was the health challenge of our generation. We had little kids and we're looking, and, my brother's gay, and, was people we knew and people I worked with in broadcasting, and we're going like, this is it. This is the big challenge. This is what we have to involve ourselves. He works so hard at it. And I mean, the passion of Andy chairing this, and I know when he's moving towards self-testing and where do we go, and let's put ourselves out of business in effect, and let's end AIDS in Canada, and we have the tools now, and let's shift the focus and push the government and go visit Dean Street and go to conferences internationally. I mean, he really, I find the word tireless ridiculous cliche, but he's freaking tireless.
It's interesting. Once you commit to something, you want to do it all in.
Canada's quite frankly behind in so many ways. No major AIDS strategy, an increase in infections, no self-testing until that's about to happen. I mean, it's embarrassing actually. And CanFAR, has really been pushing that for sure. Someone has to drive that agenda because our government isn't.
It's a national concern, and it's one that you do need to focus awareness on. The frustrating thing is this is a now fixable problem.
Imagine that. I mean, that was a dream, that this is fixable.
If we
now.
focus, it will cost us far less to focus and fix it this way than it will to just kind of let it wash around unfocused.
Now, this couple needs no introductions. I am proud to be working alongside individuals with such passion and commitment, and it's an honor to recognize Valerie and Andrew Pringle with our Patron Circle Award this year. Andrew served as CanFAR's president from 1995 to 2006, and he became chairman of the board, a role he still occupies today. Andrew is also a director of the Walrus Foundation, the Atlantic Salmon Federation, as well as an advisor to the Evergreen Foundation for the Evergreen Brick Roads Project, and Schmelk Foundation, the Fort York Foundation as well. Andrew was awarded the Order of Canada in 2016. Valerie Pringle has been CanFAR's national spokesperson for the past 25 years. One of our nation's leading broadcasting personalities, Valerie also is the chair of the board of the Trans-Canada Trail and a member of the foundation boards for the Center for Addiction and Mental Health and the board for Niagara Project. She is a member of the Order of Canada. She's also co-chair of today's event. They have both worked tirelessly to support the fight against HIV and AIDS in Canada, and their contribution to the implementation of CanFAR mission over the past 25 years is absolutely remarkable. Congratulations, and thank you both, Andrew and Valerie. I'd like to invite Valerie to the stage.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Alex, Billy, that's it, my new mantra. Keep living life and changing your hairdo. I think it's time I changed mine, but maybe a bit late. And also just congratulations to the wonderful Janice. Of course, worked with Janice over the years and have so much admiration and respect for her. And also Philip and Billy and Jeannie. What a wonderful job you did today. How lucky we are to have you here. You heard me speechifying there a little bit with frustration because Canada has lagged behind very much in the fight against HIV and AIDS. We have infections still increasing in this country, which is ridiculous. We do not have self-testing in this country, which is ridiculous. We don't even have a national AIDS strategy. But partly thanks to CANFAR and a lot of pushing, self-testing is coming. It will be imminent. We'll finally be able to get kits at Shoppers Drug Mart or wherever. And once people know their status, without stigma, in the privacy of their homes, as they do around the world, and they get the treatment they need, as Billy does, if you get the treatment, you can be undetectable. Your viral load can be undetectable. The equation is U equals U. Undetectable equals untransmittable. We can end this. We know we can end this. So with self-testing comes the game changer, and that's where we are now. So you've heard this several times this afternoon. We've got 5 years. We've set a deadline, as Jeannie said. There's nothing like a deadline to focus our minds, because once people know their status, I think it's 15% of people in Canada right now don't even know their status. The disease continues to spread. This will change, and the goal is to see the end of infections, and we can do it. What we're launching here today is something called CANFAR 2025. That's our 5-year goal. We now have slightly less than 5 years to make it happen, and we need your support. And the reason we need your support is because, as Kent Monkman said and others, and as we've seen so much in the COVID epidemic, there are real health inequities in this country. Not everybody has access to the same great health care. And we need support to make sure that kits get delivered to Indigenous communities all over the country for sure, because rates of infection have been increasing in those communities, and people in communities at risk. And so this is a big thing. We can win this fight. We want your support. It's doable, it's achievable, it's a great goal. And listening to Billy talk and say, did we ever think this is going to happen? And Jeannie about the communities and the warriors who have gone before us. We have the ability to do it now. It's within our reach, and it's going to happen. So it's going to take money. What a surprise. And that's the next ask. So Alex, if you come over, and do you want me to put my mask on?
I have a mic.
Oh, you've got
Yes,
a mic.
I've got a
Okay,
mic.
great.
Thank you, Valerie.
Okay, so what I'm saying to everybody in this room and whatever, get on your phones, log on to canfarauction.com. I hope you are bidding on all those things except the ones that I want, and I won't tell you what they are. But I would really ask you, if you could, and this is important, donate to CANFAR. I would like to announce that just to push things along a little bit, Andy and I would like to announce a donation of $25,000, which we will match. Everybody making donations right now, we can turn it into $50,000. Again, this is to get self-testing and get that message into communities all across Canada so we can end HIV/AIDS infections in this country by 2025. It's a doable goal. We can do this.
We are already starting. Everybody that is on your phone, we welcome your bids. We have several bidders already online, as you will see with the thermometer. The goal is $25,000. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that came here today to support us. It's an extraordinary time, and these are extraordinary events to take place all together. This, I'm told, is one of the first of the fall season. We will see what's to come, and we hope that you continue supporting us. November 25th, we will have a Bloor Street Entertain. It will look similar to this one, and we will protect everyone and create safe spaces. Here we go. New pledges are coming in right now.
Thank you.
And all this money will be going to the CanFAR 2025 campaign, which will help us to buy self-testing kits, to continue doing grants for research, and importantly, as we've heard today, fight stigma and create an awareness platform through our youth awareness new website. And this will all contribute to eliminating barriers and give people greater access to testing and to care. And again, you guys are doing an amazing job today. We couldn't have done it without you. You're courageous soldiers as well for coming out, and we will thank you as we wrap up today with all your donations. And we can see some are coming in, wow, $5,000. So that's really, really generous, and we hope to continue. The silent auction is open till 5 p.m., and there's a lot of beautiful artwork that is still up for grabs, so please don't hesitate. And my friend Eva Hartling, who's been working with us on this campaign, is reminding me that the hashtag for social media is hashtag CanFAR 2025. Thank you very much for all your work today, and thank you for participating. This has been an amazing event. Thank you so much. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Jeannie. To our award recipients, of course, Philip, and our beautiful Mr. Newton Davis, and of course, Mr. Kent Muckman. Thank you so much for coming today, and we can't say how wonderful it's been to welcome you. We will be leaving the room at the end of the day by tables. So the tables to the left here in this room, and as well into the east will go first, then the middle, and then to the right. Again, thank you very much. We're up to $18,500.
Come on, you want to take Andy's money.
We have a few more dollars to go. We don't want them to go back with any money. No more. No, we're keeping it. Thank you again very much, everybody. We still have a few minutes to go. Please donate, and really we care for what you've done today. Thank you.